I don't know where I didn't notice where the video cut off. So I'm going to end it just saying that souls are given to humans as like seeds. And that's where it talks about seeds being given in Jesus' parable. And those souls end up being a container that holds only the mind, which translates as information in our brains, but is more than information. It's actually, it has with it, it's like a packet. And it's like a packet of data and programming. In other words, an instrument to develop that data, to enact that data, to do something with it, to make changes, to have function. They're like functions. It's like a packet of programs that come with that soul pocket, that container. It's a frequency-based design that would look like, if we could see it, would look like a balloon or a hanging off of our like attached to our head at the pineal gland, at the highest chakra. And see, if I use that word chakra now, all the Christians are going to say, oh, he's talking about Hindu, so it can't be from the truth. That's because they want an excuse not to listen to this. Because this information has been given for trillions and trillions and trillions and trillions of years, to the trillionth power years human time, on who knows how many planets, and how many civilizations on the earth, and how many cultures on the earth. And even simultaneous with the culture that started in the Middle East, that branched off and some see as Buddhism. Tien Do felt like Buddhism had a lot of the characteristics of the overcoming of the humanness in giving all. So anyway, those soul pockets are given, those soul containers are given, and then they're given to those that want them, that want to be students in the next level, and actually become members of the next level by taking the first step of becoming students, because they recognize the information as being above everything else, and they can't help but want to be a part of it, even though it's kooky, and even though in their own brains they think it's insane at times, but then even after they think it's insane, they look at it and they say, holy smokes, it makes so much sense. I've got to look more. I've got to do more. I've got to find out more. And so they pay attention to everything Tien Do wrote, the whole Beyond Human series, all the tapes they can listen to that are available. Well, they used to be free of charge. Carlin provided them on... who's known as Carlodi, because he was in the group for a while, and now XF Checker 97 is making available a lot of materials on his YouTube site with the Beyond Human series, which is Do Talking, that Do produced, so that people can have it, because some of the ones that were actually with Tien Do weren't providing, and I didn't provide the Beyond Human series either, to my detriment. I should have been spending more time doing that, making sure that those things were up, but thank goodness this was a way that others could help with, because I'm doing stuff, but there's no limit to what we can do. And Carlin provided the audio tapes from the meetings, and he put them up on a file share site that were downloadable for free. And then after a year or so of them being available for free, that file sharing site ended up starting to charge. And I don't think if you buy those downloads, I don't think Carlin gets anything from it, though I wouldn't think that it would be something wrong with him getting some of that, because he does send CDs to people when they ask for them that have those tapes on them and other things on them, the exit videos and things like that, and he sends them out of his expense. So there's no reason why somebody shouldn't reimburse him for that. And I think the Heaven's Gate site, which is being maintained by Mark and Sarah now, and I support them for doing that, because even though there's reason to be critical of some of what they do, there's reason to be critical of some of what I do. There's reason to be critical of what Carlin does, and there's reason to be critical of what XF does. And I'm not going to be the one to judge who's got the more criticism. But Mark and Sarah have been providing, they're keeping that website that was created by T and Doe and students, well actually Doe and students, because T was outside her vehicle at the time, but Doe was certainly one with T, so I can say T and Doe without feeling any negativity about that. And they were given the task by Doe and students to maintain that website, and they have been doing that. And I don't believe they've changed anything about that website, but they are also providing CDs, DVDs with, I don't know what's all on them, but I believe some of the audio series is on them, which were the actual tapes of the meetings that T and Doe gave in at least until 1985, I believe, are on those. But I need to be told whether those are all completely on there, because I was given those tapes, and if you really want them and you don't have them, let me know, and I will continue to put more effort into putting those out. I did put some tapes out on my actually, I'm going to switch to talking directly to the camera now. I did put some of those tapes out on my YouTube channel, 3SPM, 3 is the number 3, SPM, where I've done a lot of writing, and I've put some of three of those tapes from Black Hawk, where T and Doe are talking about, T and Doe together. It's one of the better ones because the audio quality isn't good on those tapes, because they were taken from old audio tapes. They didn't have CDs and videos on CD or DVDs in the 80s. So I put them on 3 of them, and you'll see that it'll say that T and Doe talking from Black Hawk in the title, and we can get a flavor for how T and Doe worked with each other and with their students, and what they talked about, and how they were head and shoulders above everybody else. Plain, simple, direct, no glorious talk, or they never wore costumes, you know, that made them look holy, and they never pretended to be who they were, who they are, because they're still alive. They're very much alive, and I believe they are in that spacecraft, in that uncloaking that took place near Mercury, that the sun that was photographed by the Stereo B spacecraft, the Navy spacecraft, and because that was in answer, I believe, to my request to know whether they had returned, because they did let me know in dreams that they had left. Doesn't mean everybody left. It doesn't mean that they didn't leave a contingent in operation on the planet. There's a lot of things going on. I don't know if some of the dreams that are being stimulated by all these people, it seems like a lot of females are having dreams, young females that are having dreams about the rapture. And that might be Luciferians actually trying to distract us into, that's what I feel like is happening more. The Luciferians are doing that, and they're using female vehicles that, you know, have a certain attractiveness to them. So it's basically a lure, to both females and males, to watch them and be excited about the dreams that they're having, that they're talking about. And this one individual was saying that in this dream Jesus was standing right next to her, and she could see his face. And I wanted to, and then it cut off. That was the end of that. I wanted to know whether that was the end of the dream. It was the end of the dream. Notice there was no face shown. Because whose face is the Luciferians going to put there? Whose face are they going to put there? Well, I know the only face that can be there, if it's the real thing, it's going to be Do's face. Or Tiando's face. Together. Now, Jerusalem also meant dual peace. Or dual peace of mind as being connected from the real, true, one true kingdom of God. Because who came to take the children of Israel away from the hands of the Gentile pharaohs? The Lord came. Jehovah came. And Jehovah went with Moses, took Moses, and gave Moses the opportunity, the physical vehicle that was bred by the next level, to have that capacity to have that communication with Jehovah. And who did Jehovah say that Moses should go with to the Pharaoh? Two people. Aaron and Jehovah. And Aaron was the one that was going to do all the stuff in competition with the so-called wise men, magicians, and that the Pharaoh had. So that was Do grooming one of his students, who ended up, I believe, doing the task of John the Baptist. They came again as John the Baptist and Jesus. Because when the next level comes, they come with a witness. So John the Baptist was witnessing for Jesus. So Jesus didn't have to witness for himself. Because you can't believe someone who comes witnessing for themselves. The next level always comes with another witness. Now, who was witnessing for Moses? Well, Aaron was, and his vehicle sister Miriam, to some degree, and primarily, and that all during the Old Testament, that time, the 40 years in the desert, so-called wandering. It wasn't just wandering. It was learning lessons. It was a beginning classroom and following instructions. What was the first thing that happened that started this civilization on this path? The breaking of instructions. The proverbial apple. It could have been as simple as a type of fruit for consumption. It could have been just that simple. I believe it was. That they disobeyed the instruction. They could have probably lived forever on the fruit there, taking care of the plant, taking care of that garden, and enjoying life. Adam could have done that with Eve. They had everything they wanted there in that environment. Plenty of food to eat. But the next level was doing that for a reason. They were setting up a circumstance to where they could subject individuals. They were creating a circumstance to where the genetic code would be cultivated, developed, so that they could use that garden area, but that could be anywhere on the planet, whatever they chose to be, as a testing ground for new members of the next level. Because the Luciferian renegades were serving in a certain kind of domesticated capacity as watchers and angels, to where they couldn't really interfere with the real workings of the next level. And so they renegated. So now the next level, before they let anybody into their kingdom, even to that stage of getting to a domestic potential, to where they still had mammalian vehicles, bodies, that could still end up becoming, re-stimulating their mammalian sexuality and digestive systems, which are linked by what they eat, stimulates the sensual system, the plumbing, as Tiendo would call the sexual organs. The next level wanted to subject souls that were upcoming, that had not yet become members of the next level. They didn't have incorruptible vehicles anymore. Those vehicles could be corrupted. In other words, they could return to human behaviors, mammalian behaviors, mammon worship, mammon service, service to human in every form, intellectual, cultural, physical. So they set up the circumstance to where they would have a couple human beings who were called Adam and Eve, where one was more in a primary position as Adam, and one was assigned to be Adam's helper, helpmate, as it says, and that the helpmate was more susceptible to influence by the Luciferian space alien, who I don't know if had a physical component to them at that point. I suspect they did, because they weren't the only humans or that were walking around in that civilization at that time. I don't know how much access they had to them, but there were other people there. Remember, the kingdom of God wouldn't have had a situation to where these other beings would have seen them necessarily. But they were enticed to break instructions by eating off this tree that they were told not to. So they proved that they could not follow instructions. And what does the next level want in new members the most? Being able to follow instructions. If you were in the military and you had a captain, an admiral and a captain, as T and Doe said that T was like the admiral, and Doe was the captain, more like the captain. Do you want somebody on your team that if you tell them to go over here and do such and so, they're going to say, well, I'm going to do it my own way. Maybe I'll go over here too, or go over there. Maybe he really meant this. Well, he didn't mean that. If someone came to them and said, don't you want to do this instead? Because your captain is actually telling you to go to enemy territory. So I think you should consider this instead. And you're going to listen to them? Well, if you listen to them in the next level, they don't want somebody messing with their precious garden. Their garden is precious to them. Life is very precious to them. They don't, and deceit is above all the worst characteristic. So they allowed that deceitfulness to be there because they were setting up an experiment. T and Doe said from the beginning that this was an experiment. It can always be improved upon by the next level. Humans can't improve on it. Mammalians cannot improve on anything the next level does. But by their responses to the next level's experiment, the next level makes changes. They choose to make the changes based on the human responses. But not only the human responses, the responses of the members of the next level that are their representatives incarnate. Adam in this case, and Eve, since Eve was taken from the genetic code of Adam. And when the next level gives the breath of life, that then that is giving the mind of the next level to that vehicle, that physical vehicle. And then that physical vehicle, then if you take a clone of that, that genetic material then has that awareness of the next level, the kingdom of God, in every cell of their body. It's in their genetic code to a degree, but it's not, I don't know, I can't really go with it any more than that because I just don't understand it beyond that, I guess. But so I'm not going to try to, hem and haw about all the mechanics of that. That's one of my faults, in the sense that that's not necessarily a detriment now, but maybe can be. I don't know. I'm not going to go there because I'm not trying to get into my lessons at this point. Tian Do will help me with that. But I think they just did by stopping me from getting into it more when I don't know what I'm talking about. I have a general sense of it, but I can't seem to find the words for it. But if I do, I'll try to bring it back. But so that was a test, and there was two, Adam and Eve. No, that's what I'm going to with all this. And I don't know if Enoch had a partner, but I suspect he did. Even if it was Methuselah, or I'm not sure the names, not Methuselah, Melchizedek. My memory's going, so I should jump to next major occurrence was Moses with Aaron. But Moses also, what I was trying to get to, was that the kingdom of God made a point to give a lot of physical components to the way Jehovah worked with Moses and with that camp. They had a column of what looked like clouds that actually was lit up so that they could travel by night. They had like a sun, basically, leading the way. And they would follow that. The whole tribe of 600,000 plus people with all their animals and everything else would actually be traveling at night, led by a cloud of light. Okay? That was showing that there was something going on that was way beyond anything any of those humans could comprehend as reality. So they knew that they were in the presence of something that was extraordinary. And that didn't stop. That started with the Ten Commandments, basically, which was, here are the rules. If you want to be in my group, in my classroom, if you want to be students of mine, if you want to be my sons, even though sons just meant children, offspring, didn't mean male, then you have to follow these rules. There's no question about it. If you don't follow these rules, forget it. And they could have left. At any point, a bunch of them could have talked among themselves and said, okay, let's take these goats and whatever and these sheep and let's go back, or let's just go off on our own. We don't have to be there. They didn't have any fences.